Hello again, friends. And you are my friends, and welcome to the Scouting Report. That's right, we are building up to this Saturday's 3 p.m. kickoff to Derby County by sitting down with Adam from Rams Talk podcast and the Goal Hanger YouTube channel. Go and check them both out, but only after this show, because right now we are going to talk to Adam about Derby County and get the full Scouting Report. Key players to watch out for, injuries, the way Derby County are currently playing, their start to the championship. It's all here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and don't forget we are partnered with Match Bingo and Stowmarket Osteopaths, but more on them a little bit later on. I started by asking Adam what his first impressions of our great football club, Ipswich Town, are this season.
I think it's been a tough start for Ipswich as a casual viewer, not a Town fan. I think, you look at Birmingham away that opening day. I watched that first game. I think the occasion was a big one. And then obviously Southampton. And when I look at that Bromley result, that's probably the thorn that he didn't really want to lose that game, just to hopefully add some positivity in the cup. That can be a bit of a respite. But when I think about Ipswich Town in general, I just can't not think about Dave McGoldrick all them years in the Championship with him leading the line. I remember we always had a close game when you had McCarthy in charge as well, whether it be at Portman Road or Pride Park. It was always a close game, I thought, and not much ever separated the two sides, and I don't think there'll be much separate on Saturday either.
Who's your best player right now?
Carlton Morris, striker up top, 3-3.
Ex-Luton.
Yeah, ex-Luton. Looks a very good player. Yeah, looks a very good player for us at the moment, and hopefully he can make it 4-4. But yeah, looks a very good buy for us.
Biggest weakness then after 5 games, 3 league, 2 cup?
Probably defensively when teams run at us. I think our centre-backs who are a little bit more experienced struggle when teams with pace run at us. I think Coventry exploited that so well. And we struggle with that gap in between the holding midfield and defence. There seems to be teams that just find so much space in between. I think that Stoke on the opening day, Sorba Thomas, found so much joy coming out wide and down the middle, and we'll be hoping we can solidify the midfield up a little bit more. Obviously, we signed Lewis Travis today from Blackburn Rovers, so that's a big signing for us. And yeah, I think our biggest weakness would be when teams run at us and use their pace quite well.
Okay, so susceptible to pace. And obviously, Lewis Travis, he was a player we had here at Portman Road. We can't give you too much of a reference, not because he's a bad player. He's not. It's we didn't see him that often. He was here in the promotion year, and he was used more as a late, a last 10-minute substitution or cover for a suspension. But from what I saw, decent player, and looking forward. So, do you think he'll play Saturday?
I think he will. I think he'll be involved. I think we need him to be in. Whether we're going to lose a midfielder this week or as the window draws closer, as we've got quite a larger squad than what we had last season, probably need a couple of outgoings as well. But I think he'll definitely be involved. I believe he's match fit as well, which is something that we definitely need, as most of the players we've signed seem to be injured, which is always good.
So what's one player from our side that you perhaps fear coming in?
I think the most obvious one would be Sammy Sismodics, obviously with his record in the Championship, as well as being able to make that step up into the Premiership last season and then coming back down with you. But also I think if he plays Jaden Philogene, I think really big fan of him when he was at Hull City. His record speaks for itself when he was there, and I think he's probably looking to have another good season under his belt and put the numbers back on the statistics. So yeah, in terms of goals and assists, so he's probably one that I'd be worried about if he was playing against us, especially with how susceptible we've been to wingers having joy against us.
And what's your honest prediction for Derby this season?
I think we'll just be above the relegation zone. I think this start to the season is going to be a little bit bumpy. Got a lot of players injured. The most expensive signing this summer was a £5 to £7 million striker from the US, and he's injured still. Well, he came injured to the club. So that second half of the season is going to be massive for us, really, in terms of all the players that we've got coming back to full fitness. So I think we're going to finish just above the relegation zone. I'd probably go around that 14th mark. I think that would be a very good finish for us as well, considering the season we had last season and the context of we were probably one of the worst teams in the division for a large period, and we managed to stay up on the final day. So in all honesty, I don't think we're going to have an amazing season by any standards or anything like that. But I think a comfortable finish above the relegation zone would be very welcome.
Okay. All right. So we've heard about Carlton Morris. You've heard about your season expectations. Give us a bit of a scouting report on Derby. What Town fans could perhaps expect from them on Saturday? So run us through your key players, your technical identity, and likely starting 11 or key players that Towns fans should certainly be circling in their programmes come Saturday.
Well, I think it's an interesting one. As I said, we've not started the season too well, but we've come off the back of a narrow loss to Burnley last night in the Cup, where we probably put in our best performance of the season with a rotated team. We look good going forward and seem to be able to play through the middle, which we've not seen yet. So it's kind of thrown me off kilter to what to expect and what sort of team we're going to pick. But I think we look to build up play. I think as soon as we get the ball, we're going to look to break up play from Ipswich and move forward quickly. You look at Ebu Adams in our midfield, who hasn't had the best start to the season with him playing a bit further forward, but in the last 2 years, he's been our best, if not one of the best players in our team. Really solid midfielder when he's in that central midfield holding position. He'll break up play, strong in the challenges, wins the 50-50s. Might give away a couple of fouls as well, so he's probably one that will get noticed by that as well. But that probably also hangs on whether he plays further forward, because we've tried this strange tactic where we play our holding midfielder in the attacking midfield role, which I'm not a fan of and doesn't really work. I think there's a method behind the madness, but I'm not yet seeing
Run that past me again.
So we're playing our holding midfielder in our attacking midfield role in behind the striker, which to me doesn't make sense. But yeah, he's good at pressing and breaking up the play. So I imagine that's why he's playing there, sort of capitalise on mistakes. But
do you not lose creativity?
Yeah, we do massively. And we probably need a technical player in that position. He's not that. He's very much old school, win the challenges, break up play. There's not much technical ability on the ball. And with Colton Morris, who likes to win the knockdown strong in the air, we're not using that well enough. So it's a bit of a strange one and probably has hindered us in the last couple of games. But if he's playing in his proper position, he'll be a real enforcer in that midfield. And in terms of other players to think out for, like I mentioned, Colton Morris, I think he's looked so good in the air. And if we need to play direct, I think if we're holding on for a point on Saturday, I think we'll try and seal up the point. If we are drawing. I think in terms of a team, it will be Zetterstrom in goal, our first choice for last season as well. I think we'll play 3 centre backs with 2 wing backs.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll play that with Sanderson, Clark, and Danny Bart. And then I think the wing backs will probably be Callum Elder and potentially Joe Ward, who's looked very good at set pieces for us. Joe Ward scored a great goal against West Brom in the Cup in the dying seconds in that smash and grab win. And then we probably will play with 2 deep midfielders just in behind that, which probably attributes to why I've been so worried about our defensive record after shipping 8 goals in the opening 2.
Yeah.
But that'll probably be on loan Palace midfielder David Ozo. And I'd imagine Liam Thompson, because he only played a couple of minutes at the end of the match against Burnley. So I imagine we're trying to keep him match fit. Or Lewis Travis, who come in from Blackburn. I can imagine him going into that position. If I had to guess, I think we'll play Rhian Brewster, obviously former Liverpool player, Sheffield United player, on the out wide left as more of a left forward. Up front will be Colton Morris. Out wide right could be Bobby Clark, who scored against Burnley. Looked really tidy if he's got the fitness in him for a 2-game week, so close to each other. And then up front will be, and then in the attacking midfield, it's going to be Ebu Adams. As much as I don't favour it, I think we are going to play him there. Although I have seen a couple of links with him, rumoured linked with Ipswich, but we'll have to wait and see. That was this week.
How worried are you ahead of this Saturday? So if one was, I'm absolutely nervous as can be, 10 being I'm feet up, I doubt I might not even leave the pub because I'm that confident we can get 3 points. Where do you fall on the worry meter?
I think before last night, I would have said a 3. I would have thought we're not really going to get anything out of this game. I know it starts the season, hasn't been fantastic, but you've had 2 very difficult games opening the league season. So I think once you play them teams that are more middle of the table and lower table, you start to see some more positive results and start to show your quality. So I would have said a 3, but after last night's performance with a rotated team where we went toe-to-toe with Burnley, who had a lot of quality on the pitch as well on the day, and very nearly went to penalties and took them to a result, I'll go with a 4 or 5. I'm sort of sat on the fence with how nervous I am. I think we've shown against Burnley that we can play some nice football. It was a really good goal that we played against them and scored from. But it's defensively, which worries me. I think Ipswich are going to go for it in the first 10, 15, I'd imagine, and try and smell blood. Our defensive record's poor this opening start to the season. And I feel like if we go a goal down early on, we'll struggle to come back. But I think if it's 0-0 in that first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I think we'll start to build into the game a bit more. So I'm probably a 4 or 5 in terms of worrying.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, and it's interesting you're taking confidence from that Burnley game, because we played Burnley a couple of years ago in the cup, and we took a great deal of confidence from it as well. That was the year we actually got promoted. Not saying you're going to get promoted. I mean, if you end up getting promoted, we'll use this show as a look at me predicting back in August, but I don't think you will. Sorry to burst that bubble.
No, I don't think we will.
What a cup game can do for you. We've had Bromley this year, a defeat, and that sort of. That set the jitters among us, and then you got the cup game for yourselves here against Burnley. It's a defeat, but you're taking this huge amount of confidence from it, and you're hoping you can transfer a huge portion of it. And I want you to put yourself in John Eustace's shoes right now. All right, we're a bit of Football Manager. All right, it's 15 minutes to go. It's 1-1. What would you do? What would John Eustace do? Would he shut up shop, go for the point? Would he make a sub? If so, who and why? Talk us through the Derby squad and that scenario. Last 15, 1-1 at Portman Road. What's happening? I
think we'd try and shut up shop. As much as I'm not a fan of it, because, like I said, we've conceded 9 in the opening first 3 league games, which isn't good by any means. But I think we'll try and shut up shop. I think we tried that against Burnley last night, and it very almost worked until lapsed concentration in the injury time, which is also not good enough when you're trying to shut up shop, really. It's not what you want.
It can happen, can't it? That's the problem. Shutting up shop.
And I think, for me, if I was in John Eustace's position, I could see us shutting up shop. I could see us probably drop into a back 4 against the back 5 a little bit. I think we've seen Derby do that in the last moments of the games. I think we'd probably bring on Craig Forsyth, who's an experienced defender, been with us for the last 13 years, is it now? I think he's gone from being a left back / left wing back to moving into that centre back position now. And I could imagine bringing him on for how good he is in the air. I think we'd probably rotate the holding midfielders as well. I'm not sure, it's obviously with Travis coming in, whether he'd be able to come on straight away, whether he'd start and we'd switch, but I could imagine we'd drop Ebbo Adams further back into that holding midfield. I could see us trying to shut up shop. It wouldn't surprise me if we went to Ipswich on Saturday and played for a point from the off. I think we almost tried that at Stoke, and then the game opened up. We took a surprise lead and sort of threw everything out. But yeah, I could imagine that. I think we'll try and frustrate Ipswich on Saturday. Won't be the prettiest watch from us, I think, is if I had to be completely honest.
All right, half time. I won't be long. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I won't interrupt you again. Well, not for this video anyway. And don't forget, we are partnered with Match Bingo. Combine the excitement of live sport with the thrill of bingo. Your card has 15 random events from a live football match, and you watch them get marked off as the game unfolds. It's a brand new way to enjoy live football. You must be 18 or over. Terms and conditions apply. Please, as I always say, whatever you do, gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. Links are in the description, or you can scan the QR code. But if it was 1-1 and he was going to go for it, how would he? What moves would he make from the bench? What's within the squad from the bench normally where you would say, okay, that's where we're going. That's the game changer.
It's hard to say with the amount of injuries that we've got and the fact that the players that we do bring off the bench are quite predictable. But for me, I think I think if he doesn't start on Saturday, Andreas Weimann could come off the bench for us in that forward position. Quite an experienced forward now in the Championship. Was with us for a period of time before he went to Bristol City, I believe, and then moved around and ended up at Blackburn Rovers. And I think you can tell that he can read the game quite well at this level. With him being a more experienced pro, he doesn't have to run around and try and break the channels. He can be a little bit more composed on the ball. I could imagine us trying to bring him on. If Joe Ward doesn't start, we've used him as more of an impact sub in the last couple of games, and his dead balls and crosses into the box from that right-hand side. One of the best I've ever seen at the club, to be completely honest. He's one of them where we signed him in League One and everybody knew about how good he was on dead ball situations and crosses into the box. There was probably always that question mark over anything else he could do, if I'm being completely honest, and his form was up and down. And for me, when we came up to the Championship, it was, can he make that step up, or is he just a League One player, to be completely honest? But I think we've seen he's come back from an injury and he's been a real key player in these first couple of games. I think he's caused quite a lot of havoc with his crosses into the box. It led to the goal against Bristol City for the equaliser late on. So I think he's probably the one that if he's going to come off the bench, he could make a difference straight away, in my opinion. I think one to just take note of, because he's probably one of my favourite players in this team, is probably Kenzo Houdmine, which we signed from Alkmaar a year ago, which was an interesting signing for us at the time. I think he's played youth football for the Netherlands as well. Youngish midfielder. Probably the best technical play we had at the club for a long time. But when John Eustace came in, he seemed to not favour him. I think he lacks that physicality, and we were looking for players who'd have an impact on the game straight away. And unfortunately, Kenzo just hasn't really built on that form that he had at the start of last season. But if he comes on, I think he takes people by surprise how technically gifted he is with the passes he can make and sort of the vision he has. And he seems to almost be 2 steps ahead of everybody else. I think when we first came up from League One, it was clear and obvious he was a very good Championship player in a League One team, pretty much when we were lingering around them relegation places. But John Eustace doesn't seem to favour him starting, so he'll probably come off the bench, and he could be one that I think could do something for us. I hope he does anyway. He's one of my favourite players anyway.
What's the score going to be? Who's the first goal scorer going to be? Tell it to us.
I think if I'm going to be optimistic, I'll go with a 1-1 draw. I think it will continue that trend for Ipswich. It's hard because we've not won yet, but I don't think we're going to be coming away with 3 points on Saturday. I think I'd go with Sismodics to open the scoring, and I think Derby will claw a goal back. I could be bold and say Caden Jackson, former Ipswich player, but
of course
he struggled, I think, in his time with us to find some form. So I'll go with Colton Morris. Scrappy goal from a set piece, probably. That is how we do it.
Where are you playing, Jackson?
Last season, I felt a little bit sorry for him because we started playing him out wide under Paul Warne. That was his tactics. And Jackson had a little bit of a decent start to the season. I think he scored 2 in the opening 5 and looked like he could build on it. But then we had a lot of injuries, and Jackson's position was the only one where there was nobody challenging him for it, which also didn't work in his favour. When his form dropped, and his form dropped massively, he couldn't really catch a break in terms of getting a rest out the team or starting. And he's not really shown anything else. I'm not sure how many goals he scored last season. It wasn't many. And I think he's a player that if we had an offer come in, he'd probably go. I think for his own career as well as playing for Derby. But he does get some starts here and there. He played a lot last season, but we've started playing him down the middle in the cup games this season. And he's looked okay, but I'm not convinced he's cut out for the Championship, if I'm going to be honest. For us, he's struggled for form. Quite massively.
And there we go. What a great conversation with Adam from the Rams Talk podcast and the Goal Hanger YouTube channel. Go and check them out. You can find Rams Talk on Twitter. Go and find their socials at Rams Talk Pod. But Adam, great talking to you. And don't forget, we are partnered with Stowmarket Osteopaths, providing quality osteopathy and physiotherapy services in Suffolk since 1985. If you want professional, experienced care, give them a call on 01449 613 633. Freddie is the governor there. Tell him the Gov at Talking Town has sent you, and he will get you booked in for that osteopathy and physiotherapy services. Stowmarket Osteopaths, 01449 613 633. 3-3. Tell you, it'd be a good game Saturday if it's 3-3, wouldn't it? But I hope it ain't. I really do. Adam said 1-1. Let us know your score in the comments, and I'll catch you later. You've reached the end. You clearly like what you saw. So hit here to subscribe, here for more videos, and I'll catch you all very soon.